I'm good. I'm ready.
What's up, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of All in the Delivery, episode number 42. We are back from a short break, guys. We took the week off, like we said last episode. Just wanted to relax, spend time with the family, the holiday weekend, and we're back better than ever, and we got a lot of good stuff planned out for you guys. But first, let me introduce to you guys my co-host. You know him down in West by God, Virginia.
Fuck.
Luke, how is it going, buddy?
Well, the weekend ended rough because it got hot and the package count got heavy. But I made it through, and I'm actually, dude. I mean, I was debating on bringing it up, but it's so surreal for me right now that I'm actually recording this, getting the big picture segment in my grandpa's like work station in the basement. It's not really like a den. I don't know what the fuck you would call it, but
oh yeah, Luke's on location right now. He's out on location.
Yeah, this is I'm out on location. We're getting the big picture done, getting ready to get ramped back up. But like Dave said, Memorial Day weekend, I will say this. It was great spending a lot of time with the family. Saw some good friends as well. Vintage Luke the Duke came out for one night, and he don't come out very often, buddy. It was a fucking good time.
You want to talk about it or no?
Well, I mean, parts, I suppose I could say, but yeah, buddy, it was just a wild fucking. It was wild.
Hammered were you?
Oh, I was pretty fucking plumb going out of the fucking frame. Fuck.
Yeah, that's what's up.
It was a vintage day and evening.
That's awesome. That's good, dude.
But yeah, but other than that, the other 2 days were spent with family, and it was good. Yeah, it was good, man. It was. I'm looking forward to. It's been so long since we've heard. I mean, for me, I haven't heard this episode in months, so I'm excited for everyone to hear this because I really enjoyed recording it. And I'm like super fucking jacked to hear it because it's going to be completely like fresh. Because normally we might record like 2 or 3 weeks in advance.
Right,
dude. This is I can't even remember. I remember like a gist, and I know the stuff that I'm forgetting.
Yeah, no, dude. Like for everybody that wants to know, yes, this is the episode that we interviewed my dad. We actually recorded this early March, back when I first had my kid, and because they were up visiting, and I'm obviously meeting their second grandchild. Well, not second. I guess it's my second kid, but it's like their fourth, fifth grandchild. Because my sister has 3. But so we ended up recording him when he was up here, and guys, so he's gonna be we'll be playing that for you guys in a little while, okay? But first, let's get into it. I think I forgot it, guys. This is called Getting the Big Picture.
Yes.
I'm not gonna play it again. I forgot to do that. See, I'm a little rusty right now. I'm fucking shaking up.
The riff sounded good. Well, I mean, it's like they say, adjust and adapt. I'm telling you, I just, like you said, you kind of need some time to even reboot just a little bit. And it was just, I mean, we had this one in the bank. So, I mean, but I'll just say with getting the big picture, I'll go ahead and get this started because this literally happened today.
Yeah.
And shout out to Andy Von Sticks, Brad Mosier, and Mr. Porno himself, RJ. I saw they all shared it. And that's what, it was a guy, it was a driver, company driver, and he got attacked. Just you don't really see much in the video other than dude literally like you see a car pull up and a guy just flies out and they start swinging, and the driver was okay. I mean, he got a few shots, but he was standing. He was fine, and they got the license plate, and they say in the video they were going to give it to the driver and the video itself. So that's TBD to see what happened to those people. But just to talk about that, I mean, I felt, and this is a thing, I hate to say this because there are smaller statured people that I know that are badasses. I have a friend. I saw this motherfucker one punch KO a guy that outweighed him by 130 pounds. And I mean, there's people out there that are absolute badasses, but like when I see this just as like a big dude, like this guy was little, he wasn't very, and I just see it and I just get mad because I'm like, motherfucker, why wouldn't you try it with me? You know what I mean? But it just like, God, dude, it just makes you so mad because you know how hard the job is already, and he might have been having a bad day, and then for that shit to happen, fuck, dude. He'd had every right if he'd have cold cocked that dude and broke his nose. He probably would have tried to sue, and I just hope they would have laughed in his face. Right. Hopefully, he gets charged. I'm sure he will.
It's just crazy because, like, yeah, there's no way to really even prevent that. Obviously, there's no way to prevent that because it's unexpected. But I mean, I guess that goes with, I guess the shit that we learn from being drivers here is expect the unexpected, and always constantly be aware of your surroundings and shit. I mean, that's really all we could say to everybody is, be aware of your surroundings because you just never know what the fuck is gonna come into your day.
Dude, and the bad thing is that, you've all these bad things in recent years where, and I'm not trying to water this down because this was serious, but then like you think of what's happened in recent years with senseless acts of violence and drivers, man, this is just another thing. And it's something that's going to have to, in my opinion, eventually it's going to have to get addressed because there's situations like, and I'm sure situations like this has probably happened throughout time, but just like with every, like people didn't have phones, you know what I mean? People didn't have camera phones. But still, dude, I feel like it's been like, you just hear more and more crazy shit and you're seeing it. And there's going to have to be like, this is a shout out to, to Gio, to Pissed Off Yorker, because I even heard him say it one time. He's like, you got to defend yourself, fucking defend yourself. And I'm not going to speak for him for what he was saying. And I'm not saying he was even saying, talking about a fucking pistol or anything, but just, having a weapon on you, a knife or whatever the fuck, dude. It's just like, because, we're not, it's weird because we're not, I mean, this will make you this will make you laugh, but this was kind of a serious situation. So probably like 5 or 6 years ago, dude at a tow truck place, and it was in Mon County. I won't name the business, but anyway, some shit went awry, and this guy basically found out. I don't really know the whole story, but it was like something with infidelity with his wife, with like somebody worked, I don't know. But anyway, this dude fucking shot one guy and was looking for one other dude. And basically the police ended up getting him. I think he actually shot the other dude though. But anyway, about see, I am rusty about had to get the rooster sound. So we get a green light. And it says be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. There was a guy got shooting, like there's somebody armed and they're considering dangerous beyond, like, keep your head on a swivel. I'm thinking, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like, put our diet board and put the scanner in his eyes? But dude, I mean, it just, I don't know, man. It just, I, I hope that, like I said, I hope that that guy gets charged
Yeah.
and gets arrested. But it's just another unfortunate fucking thing that you see pop up. I mean, whenever you see it, dude, he just gets fucking attacked. Like, literally, dude jumps out of a car and starts swinging.
Fuck.
And I'm holding a hammer in my hand because I'm just got all these tools down here. Like, boy,
fucking ready to go.
Right.
And like, speaking of like being aware of your surroundings and shit, and expecting the unexpected. So earlier this week, had a customers of mine recently moved into the area within like the last month. I met them before already, and this specific day that I came up to their house this past week, the woman opens the door and out runs this fucking dog. Okay. And I hear this dog barking at me as it's coming out of the door. And I'm like, holy fuck, this one's not going to be good. Like, you know how you can tell if there's like friendly bark, then there's like,
I want to take your fucking head off bark.
Yeah. Right. And like wants me for lunch and dinner and some snack in between there. Like, and so this thing comes out snarl barking at me. I don't even know if that's a fucking thing, but he comes out fucking all like, and I was like, holy fuck, it's a medium sized dog. Okay.
Right.
And the dog comes running past the owner, comes running up towards me. And I'm like, fucking A, here we go. This is the time I'm going to have to fucking hit a dog right in front of the customer. You know, like I'm prepared to swing this right at this fucking thing's head. Okay. But then this thing comes running out at me, and I put the dyad out in front of it. It fucking bites the dyad and shit. And, you know, you feel it. Like, you feel its teeth, like, grab onto the fucking dyad. And you're like, holy fuck, like, this thing's serious, right?
Right.
And before you know it, I realize this motherfucker only has 3 legs. It's a fucking handicapped dog.
Can I ask which leg was he missing?
His front right leg.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
keep going. Keep going.
Fucking running at me, and like I didn't notice it at first. I didn't notice it hopping around, you know, like galloping. But like this fucking thing, all I can think about now is I do really do not want to hit this dog now if I have to. I really do not want to, because it's gonna look so bad if I hit a handicapped dog.
Well, basically, since it was his front right leg, so this is the unofficial dog whisperer. I'll just go ahead and say this:
take out his front left leg.
I mean, that's the easy part, but you could even take out his back right leg, and he's still going to drop because that's still one whole half of his body. Like if it was like one of his back legs missing, he would be a lot more dangerous. But because he's got one of them front ones, dude, yeah, you could really have fucked up that handicapped dog.
I know.
That would have went hand in hand with you leaving a schizophrenic driver. Oh Jesus! I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring that back.
What I was thinking about is the dog was grabbing my dyad, and I noticed it was missing a leg. I was like, I really do not want to hit this dog. If I have to, I will, but I really do not want to now because it's a handicapped dog, and I feel even more bad. I already felt bad. I think it was missing a leg, even though it was trying to attack me. But like, oh God, dude.
I mean, he's just mad. He's mad at the world. He's got 3 legs. He's pissed. I've only seen one 3-legged dog like out on the. Well, no, I've seen probably a couple, but only one that was mean. And yeah, it was the same thing. I'm like, dude, just fucking back the fuck off.
You're like, I really do not want to do this today.
Yeah, like this is embarrassing, dude.
It's like the annoying drunk person at the bar that comes up to you and you're like, you know, this guy's hammered. You know, he's not in the right state of mind. like, and you're just like, I really do not want to hit you, but if I have to, I will. You know, and
Oh yeah.
you know that guy's gonna be just not. It's just oh god, oh fuck. Yeah, that was my excitement for this past week.
Do you want to hear? You want to hear a quick story? Just getting the big picture story being hilarious because you just literally made me think of this about the drunk person not in your right mind hitting somebody. Well, I this one this one time this I'll just go ahead and say that this guy he was being annoying anyway, but he was like, "Go ahead and hit me right in the face," and I was like, I mean, I swung. I didn't go full complete haymaker, but I threw like a stiff right cross at him, and it was enough to where, like, I mean, he was so fucked up that he dropped, and it wouldn't. I don't even count it as a knockout because I like put him on the couch, but he was just that fucked up. I feel like if I just would have shoved him, it would have been the same result.
Same thing, yeah.
But yeah, dude, God, that made me, yeah, that just put me back because yeah, literally that situation. That was at a house party, not a bar, though. Luckily, because if it was at a bar, see, you gotta watch yourself in situations like that
Oh yeah.
because other people around,
Mhm.
police get called. Yeah,
Mhm.
this is at a house party in Morgantown, no holds
Everyone's
barred.
like all gathering around, like yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking shit show.
Oh fuck, good times. But
Dude, I was thinking too that I mean, I feel like I don't want to say it's like beating a dead horse, but uh, Orion 3.0 is getting worse, dude. Like the shit's updating now to where, like, one, it still kills my battery. That's still the same news because I don't have a cradle, which is fine because if you don't have a cradle, they can't worry about cradle usage. So you got to take the good with the bad. But the bad is that it just drains the fucking battery because I can't run it. I can't run it trace. And I'm going to say this happened today. So, you were asking me earlier if anything crazy happened today. So I'll go ahead and not go into too much detail, but basically I had to help somebody and it was the guy on my neighboring route and he followed Trace 100%. And basically and he did it to be an asshole to them, which I don't get mad about. I don't care. I only went over 9 to 5 one day this week. I was like, I was fully prepared for them to break it off in me today. That wasn't a thing. But he literally, so I had 20 stops left. And I think he had like 32. So they cut a section, gave me 12 of his stops. And, so now I have 32 and he's got 20. And I'm not mad at him for doing that because I could have been an asshole and not helped. It was only, I knew the section, but the fact of it is that if I did the same thing, like, because we're in the same area, I don't know if it would just be like a complete, because if you follow it, it's almost impossible to get it done on our routes because of our pickups and shit. I can't speak for the whole thing, but dude, in my experience, it keeps getting fucking worse. And that's what the dude told me, the guy that I helped today. He said it's only because of the pickups and the board, but like, I guess because it's so fucked up, they don't even talk to us about it. But when you got fucking 10% battery, when you got like 30 stops left, you start getting a little fucking nervous.
right.
But anyways, Orion 3.0 sucks. That's not breaking news.
Fucking sucks. All right. Yeah, it's funny like how I mentioned like earlier this week on the phone that like my manifest hasn't been updating. Today it updated for the first time in like weeks. Like I would go off of Trace and or whatever. I'd go off, not follow Orion. And it would update for me. And, I was like, okay, you're in this area. Let's give you these stops that are in this area. No, it never did that at all. Like the entire last 2 weeks. And then just today, it was like, okay, I guess I'm going to update for you now. And it didn't do that bad of a job. Like it actually set it up to the way I wanted to run it.
Well,
so
I got
I think it depends on like the route too. You know what I mean? Like I think some routes, it probably really fucks it up. And then on some routes, good.
I'll tell you another thing with my route. Not Orion 3.0 might suck on it, but shout out to Ernie Martinez because we're going to get you on this podcast one day to answer this question. But I unfortunately had to take another shit outside yesterday, and it was emergency, and it was embarrassing because I wasn't that far from the road, and the whole time, Ernie, if you listen to this, dude, I know you listen. You say listen regularly, man. We've got people, and when I say Ernie, if you guys have heard, listen, I've probably mentioned him. Damn, this is episode 42. I don't know how many times I've mentioned you, Ernie, about not pissing in bottles or always go to the bathroom because I just shit outside with impunity out there in West by God, Virginia. One thing I'm going to tell you all, and this is for one thing, because Ernie would be able to tell you this because he's a unicorn out there. If you have to do it, you gotta unravel one. You got to put one leg hole of your shorts and your underwear out and hold it. Because your law of aiming, you're not on a toilet. If you don't get in a defensive stance, you're standing there, you might have a shitty situation. Shout out to last week's guest, or 2 weeks ago, old bald bearded bastard. Shit in his pants.
Good old Dusty.
Oh Jesus. Okay, I think I'm
all right. Guys, also real quick, one last thing before we hop in the interview. Okay. Go and check out the new merch that's just recently dropped. Please go and check that stuff out. Some cool stuff on there for sure. We got the West by God Virginia shirt up. That's fucking sick. We got a new hoodie, new shirts. Like it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have the stickers up there finally for you guys soon. So guys, go check it out, deliveringgreatness.com. All right. And go get your swag. Go get your swag on.
Hammer it in.
Hammer it in?
I'm just playing with tools down here.
All right, guys, here is our interview with Vic Wirhowski. Hey guys, so listen, real quick, let me take a minute to tell you about our Patreon. Your favorite all-in-the-delivery gang has decided to offer that next-day delivery prime podcast content. Yeah, do you enjoy the podcast, but just wish there was a little more? Well, with a Patreon subscription, you guys can do just that. Choose your tier and let the boys do what they do best, deliver greatness. As always, we will continue to deliver you real stories from real drivers through our usual channels, but why not give us the opportunity to handle your packages with extra care? So head over to our Instagram or Facebook page and find the link in the bio to check out our Patreon and support the podcast today. Now back to the show. All right. So our guest today is from down further south than Luke, right? Virginia Beach, if you will. Originally from upstate New York here. And guys,
it's horizontal to each other pretty much.
I guess so. Okay. All right. And guys, let me tell you something. So like I said, he's from Virginia Beach. He is happily married with 2 kids. And he is a 25-year safe driver for the company. He is also retired as well, put in his 30 years, then hiked it right down to Virginia Beach and got out of New York and never wanted to see snow again. Guys, it is my pleasure to introduce my father, Vic Wirhowski. Vic, Dad, say hello.
Hey, good morning, y'all. See, I picked up y'all when I went down to Virginia Beach.
See?
I've had that in New York, so good morning, y'all.
Oh, I love it.
So this is gonna be a fun one because I think we've mentioned him, I don't know, many times already on the podcast from me being a second generation driver and all that good stuff. So this will be a fun one to have, and I think people will enjoy it.
I mean, right out of the gate, I know this will jump the timeline of how we normally do things, but I got to ask right away. Dave told me that you said you never had to put chains on you never had to put chains on in your whole career of driving.
That's correct. Never did. Never did.
But that blows my mind because I know where you're delivering,
Right.
And you did that for a long time. How, like, did you? Did you just avoid the area, or was the route?
Exactly. You know, snow emergency conditions. You know, I would never put myself in that position to get stuck. So, you know, the packages can always wait another day. Yeah, but never, ever put chains on the.
But you're right about the packages can wait another day, because I had a few hairy situations this year that with chains on that because chains don't work on ice. You know, nothing works on ice. Come here, Gus. Apologies, everybody. My wife's about to leave for work, and my dog is being a asshole.
A dog.
But no, I learned the hard way that you can't go in reverse very well, like on an incline when you go to rotate the tires, and you just go straight back. And yeah, it was. So the packages definitely can wait. That's a good message.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I told Luke about that when me and you were on the phone, I think, and we were talking about it, and we were like, chains. Or it was the last time you guys were up, I think. You're like, nope, never used chains before. I was like, what?
Never.
What?
They just sat on the step of the truck for all winter, and then never used them.
But there was but like, even just when there was times when it would snow and get bad real fast, I mean, just like to where, see, that's what's happened here a few times that I don't think I can only think of two really, but there was two times that I don't think if I didn't have them on, I could have made it. Like they were calling us in, but it just got bad quick.
Yeah.
And I totally believe it. But it's an amazing stat.
Yeah. the routes I would do would be away from the building. So I would just say, look, man, it's snowing like, crazy here. And, just pull over, everything, sheet it, emergency condition, bring it on back. Yep. Got away with it.
Hey, if Dave said 25 years safe driving, so that means you're circle of honor.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, what are they can't question that.
No. And to be serious for a second, that's one of my greatest accomplishments. Being on the road as many hours and all kinds of weather conditions, to be a circle of honor driver, seriously, great accomplishment. And, one of my proudest moments with that company. Yep.
And it's a feat, because it's amazing when you think about it, because of other people more than anything. And I think that's what Brandon said on his episode. Shout out to B-Dub. You got to worry about, and it's so the way with accidents too, like it's like, there's so many situations where I've seen where it wasn't the driver's fault, but it's still their fault, within the company's eyes, it's their fault. And yeah, so it really is. That's an amazing feat, and it's one I would never. I joke a lot on here, but yeah, that's an accomplishment, and I would be, I would like to say one day I had a setback, but now I'm like at year 2. So that's a long way away for me, but yeah, I would be. That's something that I strive to try to do.
Yeah. Now during that 25 years, I was in 4 accidents, but none of them my fault. I got hit. Matter of fact, quickly, all 4 accidents occurred on a Friday. All 4 accidents occurred while I was parked. all 4 accidents occurred by a female driver. So my question is, where are you ladies going in such a hurry on Fridays that you can't see the big truck parked right there? Where y'all going in such a hurry?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
That's interesting. I didn't know that though.
Yeah. All 4 occurred on Friday. All 4 while parked. All 4 by a female driver.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So I know Luke wanted to get out of the way because he was flabbergasted when I told him you never used chains before.
Yeah.
But
Nope.
yeah,
Hand to God. True story. Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So now what we like to do with our guests is get to know them a little bit more. So take us back growing up.
Okay. Back when Fred and Wilma
There you go.
and Barney and Betty were my neighbors. Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely.
with Dino as my pet. Yeah. No, growing up, grew up in Poughkeepsie, New York, and had a loving parents. I have 4 siblings, and 7 of us grew up in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. So imagine trying to do that today. Now every house has 2.5 bathrooms, and but back in the day, that's the way it was. 7 of us, 2 bedrooms. But yeah, went to graduated high school in '77, and that's it. Right out into the workforce. Started working for the company in '85.
So straight out of high school.
Well, it was like 8 years there, but I did a lot of shipping and receiving jobs, which got me turned on to the company.
And so was it? Go ahead, Luke.
What?
No, you look like you're about to talk.
No, I was getting myself resituated.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm good because Gus is upstairs. I'm laser focused now.
So did you go straight into driving, straight off the road? Or did you have to work the preload?
No. I went right into driving. I was on call. As you know, nobody starts really full time off the streets. So I was on call and, would wait by the phone. And if they didn't call me, I went and did another job. I was working for a company that was a small privately owned wholesale paper product company. And they were for me. They liked me. They really cared about me. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
And me succeeding. And so when I wouldn't go to work for the company delivering, I would go work for them. And then one day I came in and said, "Look, I got a full-time job. Thank you. Goodbye." Yeah.
I wanted to finish with that, Dave. That's what he's good when he knows I was going to say something. But I was just like what you were saying with the house that you guys lived in, the family size. That's something that and my grandmother is a lot older than you are, but say coming from the older generation, I'm saying this is something my grandmother says a lot. When people say that, but she, that's like she would say growing up, because my dad had 3 sisters, so they had 4 kids, and it was like they had 1 car. They lived in the house they live in now, or the house my grandmother lives in. By today's society standards, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, like a family of 4 wouldn't live in a house that size. But like that's what I mean. Like she always says, like people think, but people didn't. They got by and did it all right because people didn't. You didn't need as much, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, that's actually what I was thinking, Dave. But yeah, I wanted to finish with it before I said it. He's good.
Yeah.
He's good. He'd be a good poker player, man.
Yeah. With my family, it was a station wagon, 1 car, and somehow my mom went to work, my dad went to work. My brothers and sisters got to school. I got to school. It all worked. They made it work.
Right.
Now everybody's got to have their own car and their own room and their own TV and yeah,
everything.
Unbelievable where we've come. Yeah. Some of it's good. Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's what I'm just glad. I'm glad that I was able to, because I didn't get a cell phone until I was 21. And that's one thing I think I'll take, I'll always be thankful for, because I'll see, my nephews
Yeah.
or, young kids now. And it's not, it's not their fault. It's just that's what they've been brought into, the way technology, where we're at. But it's
Yeah.
just.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They come out of the womb wanting to know the password for the Wi-Fi, so they can get connected, That's it. Yeah.
So getting started now with the company, you said straight off the block, you went right into driving. So I believe you said there was one time in your first year you quit.
I did.
You want to tell us a story?
I can. Yeah.
Tell us the story in detail.
Yeah. Back in the day when you would when they would send you on a route that you didn't know, they would send, a supervisor or someone with you to at least get you started, whatever. Well, one day I walked in and they said, Vic, you're going to be doing this route. I said, okay, cool. I said, who's going with me? He goes, Jim and Randy. I go, really? Two people? Who's Jim and Randy? Jim Mapko and Randy McNally. And I said, whoa, and for those of you who don't know, now you have MapQuest, but back in the day, Randy McNally and Jim Mapko were maps companies, so that's who went with me. They say, here, you got a map. But anyway, so I went down to the truck, and the truck was loaded top to bottom, side to side, front to back. I mean, you could not fart in that truck, there was no room for that, so I started out. And I opened up the back door, my first stop, and a dozen packages at least came flying out the back. I said, oh my, the truck was a mess. So I put those dozen packages back in the truck, closed the door, drove right back to the building. Here you go, boss. Here's the keys. I quit and walked out. Yep. But then, they realized they were wrong. And so, later that day, they gave me a call. They were like, listen, man, we're really sorry. Should not have done that to you. Can you come in tomorrow? And so, yeah, that's the story.
And
the rest is history.
And what happened, though, as soon as you left the building your Browns?
I drove to a competitor I was still in my Browns, drove to a competitor, and here I walk in the door in my Browns, and hey, you guys hiring? Unfortunately, they were not, or maybe I should say, fortunately. Yeah. Let me put it that way. Fortunately, they were not, because my went back, like I said, that afternoon, got a call. Bygones were bygones, and worked 30 years.
I wonder. I mean, obviously they were obviously a corporation back then too, but the way the time is, I wonder. You think they would do that now?
No.
I don't think they would either.
No.
But I was thinking, if we've had somebody, I've seen people walk out and go. One time, my first year, literally year one, when I was a preloader, I preloaded for five and a half years. So year one, our dispatcher, so she was our boss, pretty much. Dispatcher was preload supervisor, and I don't really know what happened. We had a center manager then, and he was he's probably the last of a dying breed now, because people get sensitive a lot, but he was an asshole. He was a prick, and he was one of them people that would he wouldn't really get in your face, but he'd get close enough. He would try to intimidate. One of them. He was a hard ass. And I remember I just got out of unloading. I unloaded for probably about a year, and I just started loading trucks. And she was down there, showed me the show, like the numbers and stuff. And then like an hour later, I don't really know what was said, but I just looked and saw her storm out the door. She just walked out, never came back. And I've seen one driver do that. So I've seen a manager, somebody on management, and somebody that was union do that, but they never. I don't know really the details. I don't know if it was even if they had the opportunity. Yeah, they were gone.
Yeah. No, I was fortunate, no doubt about it. Yeah.
But if you said like what happened if they admitted, I know even different times or not, for them to admit they were wrong, you obviously must have been in the right.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see them folding, but like, you know what I mean? Just saying like, if you say it, they're not sure, be like, okay, I think we'll believe him. You know what I mean? So obviously they knew they were, like every situation's different.
Yeah. It was a whole different breed of, managers back then, like you're saying, they were in your face, but they also, I guess that they did in the middle of the day, they had free time back then. Now they're constantly having to do reports or whatever, follow drivers and whatnot. But back then, I would see them out on the racquetball court, on the tennis courts, golf course, back then. So I think that they realized they were wrong because they really weren't doing anything. They could have sent somebody with me,
Right.
And so, now if it happened, I can understand why they would send somebody out by themselves, even though, it may not be the right thing to do because they're busy. They actually have to work all day, not just 2 or 3 hours in the morning or 2 or 3 hours in the evening as drivers go and come back. But now they got to work all day. So.
And they also now with those good old cradles, they don't
yeah.
have, that's their excuse. But I've been so critical of those things, and I still am, because I feel like that's watered down the job so much. And I've said this the day before. I've never wanted to strike. I've never wanted to do that. But that last contract, that's the last chance they would even have, because if they keep. And we've had a past guest, Bianca. She had such a good analogy where she said it was like, it's aloe vera. They need aloe vera and baby powder now. And they're just looking for butts and seats, hands and feet.
Exactly.
And that's it. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like the way, because it doesn't, I feel like if you have to, and this has happened a couple times. I ran a route, I think 3 weeks ago on a 3 Fridays ago, that I hadn't ran in over 3 years, but I ran it that day because obviously the guy who ran the route was off. I don't know whoever covered it was off. We had like 8 call offs that day, and
the snowflake crew.
The snowflake crew, yes, and so they asked me to run that route, and I thought maybe it was because the cradle didn't work, because there's another route that I run that it's just back roads and every road's beat to shit, so that thing just doesn't stay connected, and it never works even when they replace it. So I assumed the cradle worked on that, and that very route was a route that I got put on it in the blind. I ran a route that I had a supervisor with me prior, that was the neighboring route. But when the time, like, we were shorthanded, they're like, oh, Luke, just go do that. But now, like, I don't know, and I don't. It sucks riding. We say going in the blind, when you don't know a route, and that sucks. We all know that sucks, and I hated that. I wouldn't want anybody to do that. But I feel like it's just another thing. You learn so much more. Right. It might suck. It sucks ass doing it that way, but you learn so much more than you would, because anybody can put Google Maps on and drive somewhere. Yeah. That's basically what it's getting boiled down to.
Yeah, no, there's even like I had a driver come and meet me to help me one time, like a year and a half ago, and he had an app on his phone. There's an app now for your phone where you can literally punch in multiple addresses, and it will. Like you put them in order. So if you look at like how it is in your board and how it is stop by stop by stop, you can put in those addresses, and the GPS will take you stop by stop by stop by stop too. So it's like, and I mean, like, that was like the crazy thing too, was like, like I noticed too recently, since I just had a cradle put in the truck, and the first time I've used it this past week ever. And I noticed too now, like how it, displays like the customer's name, and then, like all that, like, I knew some of my customers' names, obviously, but now, like, I feel like with that, like, you're going to learn all of them. But then with the other side of it, so like there's like one address, for instance, on my route where I know that they have a note in the board, and the note always says deliver to the front porch. And when I was delivering to the one address and it was in the cradle, I can't see the note. So when I saw the address, I was like, wait a second, which address is this? So when I see the note in the board for that one little street, I know which address it is. It's the only note on that street. So like, I didn't know that, like, the actual address, I realized. I just knew about like the note, and I knew what house it went to. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Well, it's just, I've told people too, when people have used Google Maps on their phone, when they've used Google Maps and it puts you, I said, and if you GPS something, if you ever GPS something and it takes you in a completely off the wall, not where you're supposed to be. I was like, that's basically what Orion is to an extent.
Yeah.
It's like trying to explain it to people. And
Well, back in the day, I mean, we started out on paper and pencil. I mean,
Right.
that was crazy where they would load the trucks by just a street. So you had your area. You went from this border to that border to that border to that border, and every street within there was on a chart hanging on the back of your truck, and the preloader would just, this street went in this section. I mean, it wasn't numbered; it was just every package for that street. And so then, you would drive to that street and then have to figure out, what houses, and I mean, it was hard. Like you're saying, you actually had to learn. Now it's anybody could get in the seat and just follow a map. And as Dave's saying, it tells you the name of the customer and how many packages, and it's, man, back in the day, but also back in the day, you didn't go out with 160, 170. You went out
Right.
with 60 or 70 because it took you longer to deliver. So.
I know this is I'd say random questions I would have, because this is another one, because CODs, I know they used to have cash CODs.
Yep.
you got a good,
Yeah,
you got a good story for that.
yeah, I do have a good story.
Yeah.
That actually, that was a question, because I was curious. What was your biggest cash COD you ever had to pick up?
Oh my gosh.
You don't-
We would take a couple $1,000. Seriously.
I've always laughed. That blows my mind, because
Yeah.
I think to myself, I was like, man, they just put you guys in such a. I mean, nobody knew, obviously, but I'm like, yeah, you had just picking up CODs, thousands of dollars in cash right there.
Right. Yeah. Seriously. I mean, it was crazy. If it got over, I think if it was over 1,000, then you had to have a supervisor recount the money as well. And initial the COD turn-in envelope, and yeah. Oh yeah, crazy amounts of money sometimes, depending upon, if you had a mall delivery, your CODs could be up there. Yeah.
So without mentioning names, you want to tell your story about that?
Yeah. Again, having cash CODs, what they asked us to do was, before we returned to the building, we had to pull over and fill out a little COD envelope and write down how many hundreds, how many 20s, how many 10s, 5s, and so on. And they didn't want us coming back to the building to do that, because they didn't want a handful of drivers all trying to figure out their money in the same area, blah, blah, blah. So I'm pulled over on this at a convenience store, and you had to have the right amount of money. So if you had to make change, sometimes it came out of your own pocket. So then you had to reconcile that before you got back to the center. So anyway, one day I pulled over at a convenience store and I needed change. So I went in, I got a cup of coffee, paid, got my change, and I'm in the back of my truck, and I'm, have my money spread out on my shelf, and, have a pile of 20s, 10s, so on. Anyway, supervisor rolls up on me and he goes, "Hey, Vic, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm just doing my CODs, and then I'm heading back to the building." He goes, "Okay, cool. All right. Well, be safe. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow." Thought nothing of it. Well, a couple days later, for one reason or another, I went in and I looked at my personnel file. Back then, they just had them sitting in a file cabinet. So I looked at my personnel file, and there's a letter in the personnel file saying, now the supervisor's name was George, right? The letter said, I, George, caught Vic Wirhowski stealing time on such and such a date. I spotted him at the convenience store, and he was in the back of the truck drinking a cup of coffee. Well, that's not what happened. Well, I shouldn't say that's partly true, but the rest of the story is I was back there reconciling my CODs and getting my money in order, which is what we were supposed to do. So bottom line was this supervisor had a hard on for me and was trying to advance his career by making me look bad. And so I went to him. I said, hey, George, listen, man, I was just in my file and I see this letter here. And this guy, when he knew he was lying, he would talk out of the corner of his mouth. I mean, his mouth would actually his lips would go from horizontal to diagonal, that's how you knew the guy was lying, and I'll get that out of your file right away. So I said, okay, cool, man. I said, I don't know why you did it, but you and I both know that's not the story. I was there doing what I was supposed to be doing. Get that out of my file. Oh yeah, I'll get it out of your file. Okay. So, mouth went diagonal. I'll get it out of your file. I'm like, okay, well, 2 or 3 days later, I went back in and it's still in there. So then I went and got my shop steward. I said, hey, listen, this is what happened, but this is what George did. He put this letter saying that he caught me stealing time when in fact that's not the case. So my shop steward, back then, the shop stewards had a backbone. Not so much in all the places now, but back then they did. And the shop steward went to George and said, you and the center manager, I want to see you guys in the office now. Vic, follow me. So the 4 of us went in the office, and my shop steward was so upset with George. I mean, he was spitting on him, not intentionally, but he was just yelling, screaming, finger in the face. That you're lying. This man was not stealing time. How could you do this? Anyway, up and in his face. Well, anyway, a little later on that afternoon, my shop steward drove that letter out to me on my route and said, here it is. It's out of your file. The next day, George was fired. The supervisor got fired.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So true story. Next day, supervisor's gone. He wasn't transferred. He was fired. Yep. Yeah.
Well, like they say, what goes around.
Yeah.
What goes around comes around.
Yep. Yeah. So
I'd like to. I have to, because one of the shop stewards we have. He does. Him and his wife listen to the podcast, and they're shout out to Dwayne and Emily. They're actually expecting their first child this summer. But I'll say that our 2 shop stewards are. But I know what you mean as far as standing up. But I'll definitely give R2, because I was one of the people that nominated. I told this story, I think, on Misty's second episode. We had one of our stewards was stepping down, and we've had the same 2 for it was probably 10 years straight, maybe a little longer. And the other guy was still in. So then when Dwayne got in, this other guy was going to be, oh yeah, you'll like this, because you know what I'm talking about, Dave, with this other guy. So this other guy was a friend. He still is a friend. I met him through work, but I've always kept the work part out of it. So, but for shop steward, he wanted to be it. So they were talking about voting or nominating people. So I nominated Dwayne because he was a younger driver, and Dwayne got balls. I said, he's not like a big dude. He's not like an intimidating looking guy or nothing, but he's got balls. And I'd wanted a younger driver that would stand up, because so many of them, when you first come in, they're pressured. And I feel like so many of them, I thought it would show that they would stand up for themselves. So he ended up getting the shop steward, got got voted. I didn't even have to vote because I showed up almost late like I normally do. I'm right on time. And Dwayne had already won. But the other guy, the funny thing is, as soon as he lost that, like 2 weeks later, he was a supervisor, like full-time supervisor. He's transferred.
Yeah.
He's transferred to the neighboring center now in Clarksburg. But like I said, the guy's he's a friend of mine, and I'm not bad mouthing him, but yeah, I was like, that seemed awful shady. I was like, you want to be a union steward,
right?
You don't get voted in, and then like, bam, you're automatically. It's like you turn around, he's a supervisor.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I was like, huh?
Yeah, that's two opposite sides of the spectrum,
Yeah.
right there for that one. So tell us now. Let's touch on the 25-year safe driving.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, one of your greatest
accomplishments. Yeah, certainly the thing I'm most proud of with UPS.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, sorry.
That's okay.
You're good.
Yep.
We stamp it.
Okay. One of the greatest accomplishments, and I can't emphasize it enough how proud I am. And I've said this to a lot of people. One of the greatest gifts that this company has given me are the safe driving habits, the 5 seeing habits, the 10-point commentary. And David can tell you, before he was allowed to drive one of my cars as he was learning how to drive, and my daughter could tell you too, they had to know the 5 seeing habits.
Oh yeah, he told us.
Yeah,
he told me. Yeah, he told me that.
Yep. So all joking aside, I know sometimes that company can be tough to work for, but the 5 seeing habits, 10-point commentary, I'm telling you, you will not have an accident that's your fault following those things. I have a friend down in Virginia Beach whose daughter is just learning how to drive, and I went over the 5 seeing habits with her. That's how important they are to me. Yeah.
Well, when you apply them, like you said, we can all as drivers, we could mock the safety stuff if the management's still like, I know that, but you're right. You're absolutely right. Because the bottom line is, everybody drives. They might not drive what we drive, but they drive something.
Yep.
And so yeah, that's definitely a good thing to learn.
It is. Yeah.
And so that actually, you kind of went right into my next question, Dad, was, are there any key takeaways and life lessons that this company has taught you throughout your 30 years? And I guess that would be
That
number one
that is
answer.
definitely the number one. Yeah. And as much as like I said, they're a tough company to work for, you won't hear me badmouth them too much because they did provide a great living. My wife didn't have to work. She was able to stay home, take care of the kids and the house and so on and so forth. They provide a good living. They take care of you, with benefits, and the union takes care of you with benefits. And so you won't hear me badmouth them. I know they work you hard, but they are a really good company to work for.
Yeah. And that's even the one thing too, which I've said many times on here, on this show as well, is that every guest we have on, you don't hear one bad thing, about the company. You don't hear anything. We don't badmouth them. Nobody has badmouthed them before. I mean, we had one guy who on social media on our Instagram account was like, why don't you guys talk about this and that on there and this and how they're doing that to you and this, that. It's like, dude, like, that's not what we're here for. Obviously, we're here to meet people and get to know them and their life story. And like Luke said, you hear that at every center you go to anyway. So just hang around with some people and you'll hear it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you'll get a bad apple or two, come through in management. Like I was telling the story about this guy, George, who was, trying to, further himself by bringing me down.
Yep.
But, that happens anywhere, right? Any company.
Right.
Where people are, just trying to get ahead at any cost, no matter who they hurt or step on the way up.
Yeah.
So, but as a company, that's the exception, not the norm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what, I've always, like, for the most part, people, it's definitely, it's not an easy job. We know that, but it's not,
Yeah.
I feel like when you go into it, like I can't stand, because people, I'm not, people that complain, like, you go into it, you're not working a 9 to 5 job.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what people to this day, they can't understand, to where, like, a couple years ago, and this still happens with my family, but this was actually a good friend of mine, West Virginia, 2000, so the year before COVID, this was 2019. West Virginia was playing Oklahoma on Friday, and this was Friday night game, and it was a big game. And he asked me, he had an extra ticket, and he asked me to go with him, and I was like, man, if I can, I will. And he's like, well, what? You don't think you can? You won't be done by? You don't know if you'll be done by like 6:30?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Right.
no, dude. I was like, I would love to be there. Trust me, I'm going to do everything I can, but there might just be things that are out of my control here.
Yep.
It's like I might get the green light and cancel everything.
Yeah. Exactly. I can't tell you how many, ball games I missed, and so many things. Eating together as a family at night.
Right.
So, but that going in.
Right.
Certainly this job isn't for everybody. If you want a job where you don't have to work hard, make a lot of money, and be home every night at 5:00, well, this job's not for you. Because when you go in every day, you may be able to get home at 5:00 on Monday, but come Tuesday it might be 7:00. On Wednesday it might be 6:00. You just never know. So,
right.
But that going in, and if that's the kind of life you want, then then take this job. Yeah. Yep. But it pays off in the end. Like I said, with pay, benefits, retirement, and we could talk about that in a little bit. But that's all. It's all good. It's all good.
And I've said it to Dave and on the pod on a few episodes. I can't. I went to school at first. I graduated with a criminal justice degree, but I went to school at first to be I went into accounting, and it makes me laugh so hard when I think of me as an accountant, because I was like, I can't see me sitting behind any desk.
Right.
And now, because that's one thing I do love. That's, you got the pros and cons of working outside, as we were talking about with, obviously the winter, and, it can be hot and really cold, rainy, whatever, but you're outside, you take the good with the bad. And I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't change that for any office job.
Yeah. Well, there was, I'm going to say 3 times over my career where they tried to get me to go into management, where they would actually take me out, wine and dine me, take me to like the fanciest, like seriously, one time the center manager, division manager, district manager, so you had, 3 levels up the food chain, came to the center, and they said, Vic, we're going out. We'd like you to come with us. Okay. Right. And we went out. I mean, we ate, we drank, man, I mean, like I would never take my family to this place because I couldn't afford it, So anyway, we got done, and the district manager's paying, and I see him whip out after the bill came. I mean, he's whipping out hundreds and then 50s, and I mean, it was, but I wouldn't take it. Then one time, center manager goes, Vic, I want to talk to you. Why don't we go out to dinner? Your wife, my wife, and we'll go out to dinner. I want to talk to you. He goes, on me, on him. I said, okay. So we went out, had a nice dinner, and he's trying to get me to go into management. And I'm like, listen, I don't want to, because in management, when they say jump, you don't ask how high. You just start jumping and hope it's high enough.
Right. Right.
So the center manager, he got up to go to the bathroom, and his wife is sitting there at the table. And I asked her, I said, listen, I just got to ask you your perspective. What's it like being married to a center manager? She goes, Vic, don't go into management. She's like, shh, don't go into management. Don't go into. So why not? And she goes, because when you go into management, you have to eat, shit, piss, and cum brown. Because if you do any other color, you're gone. Yeah, I swear that's what she said to me.
Oh,
And I was like, okay.
shout out to that basic wife. That's such a good analogy right there.
Yeah, because that's it. So that's exactly what she said to me. Any other color and you're gone. I was like, okay.
Oh man.
Yep.
And that's like, and then you can also, one thing I haven't been, when I first started to drive, probably right before that because I thought about for a while trying to go into loss preventions because I thought maybe I could use my degree for that and maybe actually, but I never wanted to. I like, that's how I don't like. Yeah, the thing is you can try. I don't know how it is where you guys are at, but our on road soups, they can get transferred and have to go.
Yeah.
Wherever. Far enough away that you're going to have to move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to have to uproot. And that's another thing that if it would be different if you had some type of say in it, but you don't.
Right.
Like you said, like that center manager's wife just said, you eat, sleep, cut, everything.
Everything,
So
Brian.
wherever they point, you're going.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
All right. So 30 years now retired. Or 30. Yeah, I've been retired for 30 years.
5 years retired.
5. Yes. 5 years retired. What advice do you have for the drivers, for the younger crowd?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. One step at a time. Don't try to be a hero. One step at a time, one package at a time, one stop at a time. Eventually the truck gets emptied, and then thank God you get to go back and do it again tomorrow. That you have a job. And just remember, it's their game, it's their rules. Just play by their rules. If you want to play their game, play by their rules, and you'll be all right. They can't fire you, they can't get rid of you for doing the right thing. So just do the right thing every day. You get to go home, enjoy your family, and in 30 years, you get to retire with a great pension.
You can touch on that too if you want.
I will. I'll be happy to touch on that. When I retired 5 years ago, and I went up to the union hall, signed all my paperwork, they said, Vic, we will give you, I'm going to give you round numbers. All right. These aren't the exact numbers, but they're fairly close. They said, Vic, we're going to give you $5,000 a month for the rest of your life. And then if you should pass before your wife, we're going to give her half of that for the rest of her life. I said, sign me up. Where do I sign? I signed that paperwork quick as I could, show me the money. So, and I figured, I've been paying into that for 30 years and the company's been paying into that. So, it's all good. I have this money coming. Well, anyway, about a year into my retirement, I got a letter going, hey, guess what? The pension's running out of money. So what we're going to have to do is cut your pension. And because I was in the younger crowd, because I retired when I was 55, I had 30 years and I was 55 at the same time. So I was able to leave at age 55. They go, we're going to cut your pension by a third. I said, what? So then instead of 5,000, I'm getting, whatever. So whatever a third of 5,000 is. So then I'm like, okay, well, that changed everything for, the planning that my wife and I had to, just sit on the porch and watch the sun rise or set or whatever direction our house faced, that was the plan, and then be able to go visit the family, go do whatever we wanted to do. Well, when they cut the pension by a third, that was a game changer. So, my wife and I each got part-time jobs, and, we're loving life in Virginia Beach with our part-time jobs and all that. Well, now with the passage of this last stimulus package by the House and Senate and signed into law by President Biden, included in that stimulus package is a lot of pork, but part of that pork is a quote unquote bailout of the multi-employer pensions. So in other words, long story short is that now my pension will be restored to 100%, that $5,000 a month for the rest of my life. Plus, I will get retro pay for the third that has been lost for the last 3.5 years. So now when I say a bailout, I also want to just say that it's not like the government's going to say, here's the money, you don't have to pay it back. The unions, multi-employer pensions will have to pay that back at a very, very, very low interest. But anyway, included in that stimulus package was a bailout of the union. And so, knock on wood, I'll take it. I'll take it. Yep.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the Reader's Digest version of a long story, But anyway, so it probably because it just got signed into law this past week, by the president. So it'll probably still be about another 3-4 months before that money finds its way to the local unions and then onto the workers, So, yep.
At least knowing it's coming. That's still a nice.
It is. It's nice. I mean, I could argue both sides of that coin. Whether or not it was a good idea, bad idea. Selfishly, I'll take it, but I hate to see the government just print money and throw it at things. But anyway, that's all another. Yeah. That's all another topic for another podcast, not this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd be happy. I'd be happy to indulge that.
There you go. I bet you would.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Yep.
So last but not least, here we can start wrapping up. I prepped you. I told you we ask every one of our guests to give us
to sing a song.
To sing a song. Okay. Give us their helper story. And I know through 30 years, you probably have a crap ton of them.
I do.
You probably have good ones. You probably have bad ones. You probably have funny ones.
Oh man, I could tell you at least a dozen of them. But one of the good ones. I once had this kid that was a track and field star in high school, long distance runner in high school on his high school team, and was going to college. And he got a scholarship in track and field. So this kid, he was, I don't know, 19 or 20. He was a runner. I mean, I loved working for UP, for that company that year, for that peak, because I would get done so stinking early. And I was not going to tell this guy. I just look at, you can do what you want once you leave the package car. But you're on your own, I mean, if you slip and fall, dude, but just be careful. But if you want to run, have at it. And he saw it as training, I mean, we would get done like peak 3:30 in the afternoon. And then, again, this is back before, they were keeping track of every step you took, so we'd sit on the road. One time we went to a basketball court and we were playing basketball. While the companies paying us, because we were done at 3:30 one day, and we drive by, and it was one of those like weird, warm winter days, where it was like 45, 50 degrees up in New York, and during Christmas, and we're out there playing, basketball while getting paid, and this was during peak. So that's like my greatest one, man. I love that guy, man. I wish I could have kept him for 30 years, But, but I've had the good, the bad, the ugly. I've had one. I have a story similar to David's where I left a helper on the side of the road. It was the last day. It was Christmas Eve, and it was a girl. It was a girl, and throughout peak from Thanksgiving through Christmas Eve day or day before Christmas Eve, she was good. I mean, she walked at a brisk pace. She did the job like she's supposed to. I had no complaints. Last day, I don't know if she was just upset that she was going to be unemployed or whatever, but all of a sudden now she's just slowly walking, and like she'd come up to the side of the truck after delivering the package. And I'm in the seat ready to go, and she would just stand out there and say, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I'm just just looking around, come on, we got to go. It's Christmas Eve, I want to get home. We're done, the peak is over when when we get done. This girl was like, and then she's like eating sunflower seeds, right? This is so funny. She's standing on this. She comes up to the door, like instead of getting back in and getting in her jump seat, she was standing outside eating sunflower seeds. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm just eating a little bit of sunflower seeds. I said, well, you just stand there and enjoy them. And I started the truck up, took right off. She threw the bag of sunflower seeds and managed to come inside the door, as I was driving away. So the whole front was littered with sunflower seeds, but I left her standing there on the side of the road. I call my boss, and this is like we're close to being done, and she's just like dragging her heels for some reason. I just drove off, left her there, called the boss, said, look at me, I just left so-and-so on the side of the road. Here's the road. This is why. I said, we could have been back, and anyway.
It runs in the family.
It does, but yeah.
That's
I don't
funny.
know what happened. I don't know why, but the last day she did not want to do that job. It's like the last day I want to get done because you got family things, Christmas Eve, Anyway.
Yeah. Christmas Eve of all days. Yeah, you want to get done.
Yep, left out. Well, plus I knew I wasn't going to see her again after that, so I had no problem driving away. Yeah, seriously, left her on the side of the road. Yep, she threw her sunflower seeds at me, and that was that. Yep.
That's a good one.
Yeah. True story. I mean, I had one girl, man, she comes on, she must have been about, I'm going to be kind, maybe 250, 260 pounds, and about
I'm 260. That's a big.
Yeah. About the third stop, she went and sat down in the jump seat and broke it. And broke the jump seat. I'm serious.
Oh my
dude.
gosh.
I'm serious. Right? I'm like, boss, listen, I called the boss, like, listen, dude, she just literally broke it. It won't stay in a horizontal. It just flaps down, I'm like, what do you want me to do? I said, and he goes, well, you can't have a passenger in there that can't be seated and seat belted. Back in the day, oh my gosh, back when I first started, we didn't have jump seats. That's a whole nother story too. We used to grab like the last box of the day, and that'd be the seat. We were hoping like it was a box of Omaha steaks or something, styrofoam that nice and comfy, And I mean, we were literally, and that used to be the seat,
What?
back in the day. Yeah, long before jump seats, man. Yep. But anyway, yeah, this girl broke the jump seat, and their boss, and he goes, well, listen, you gotta bring her back. I said, I'm not bringing her back. It's Christmas time. I got a full day here. I'll leave her at the corner Getty Mart or whatever it was, Mobile Mart, and someone's gonna have to come down and get her. And that's what happened. I ended up having to do that day by myself. But yeah, she broke the jump seat, and she could, back.
Oh my!
260 can break it, because I sat in one when I was eating lunch, not the truck I'm in, but that route that I said I covered that I hadn't ran in like 3 years. What the hell? I think it was just Subway. Luckily it wasn't anything. It was something I could contain. And I got out and I was going to put my feet up when I sat in that jump seat. Yeah, I didn't. Yep. I didn't write that. I didn't write it up either. I just let it be.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's funny.
That's it.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, listen, do you have any questions for us? You have any questions for Luke? You want to test Luke's knowledge?
Oh, yes. Okay, birthday.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
All right.
Any
actor or actress. It can be old. He prefers the older ones because
I'm admitting that I'm getting rusty because it's something that I don't look at. This is just
he's pretty good.
Do they have to be current? Can they be dead?
Some could be dead. Yeah, I know enough of them. I mean, we could say
John Wayne.
1907.
Did you sound like John Wayne a little bit?
John Wayne was born May 26, 1907.
Look at that.
I think I even know he died, I think it's 79. Is that right, Dave? I think I
June
remember
11th,
that.
1979.
Nice.
That was one that popped. Yeah.
That's
Wayne.
cool. That's cool.
Try him again.
All right. How about Robin Williams?
Robin Williams.
One of my favorites, by the way.
Me too. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Robin Williams, 1951.
July 21st, 1951.
Nice, dude.
I can't. I know he just passed recently, but honestly,
Yeah,
I can't think off the top of my head what year that.
It was a couple of years ago.
2014.
Yeah.
2014.
Oh, wow, already?
Yeah. I know. Damn, that's been.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was
years.
one of my favorites. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So many good ones you could go.
Hello. Yeah.
You could name them.
He
all.
comes up with the pie in his face from behind the refrigerator door.
Yeah.
Hello. Yep. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His original Morgan TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll stand up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Luke started doing that at bars.
Yeah.
And, would be like, listen, if I name this actor or actress, you give me a free drink. You know what I mean? Or something like that. It starts.
Well, it got brought up to give the quick story about it. I had a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. So I lived the university that I went to. I lived at home because I was close to it. I didn't move out till my last semester of school. So I had a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class where I had an hour in between, and it was in the same building, the Hardway Hall, and they had a computer lab because this was smartphones weren't around yet anyway. So internet was, that's what weirds me out too, that we can talk about technology now, like the older version of technology.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
That's true.
I don't like that. But anyway, the older, back in the day when you had to go to a computer lab. So I had like an hour in between class, and I would look at that. I'd look at ESPN.com, check out scores, check out game lines, but if they got to bet, whatever, I'd look at IMDb, and this was something that I never said anything about it. It just I forget how it got discovered, but it was around friends of mine that I'd been friends with for years. I'd met in school, but this was years after I'd graduated, and I don't even, but yeah, the way I always tell it is the one friend of mine, he was always kind of the voice of reason of us. This was one of the only times I ever saw him really get hammered drunk. He was always like the one that watched over us, because we started playing that game when they were taking bets. This was just at their house. This wasn't when we were out. So we were just staying put around the fire there taking bets. And obviously this is smartphones were in, so people were on their phones and they had them out. And Ben Vance, shout out. That was the first time I ever got to see him hammered drunk, because he just got hustled. He got hustled. he had no idea.
No idea about those steel trap memories.
Shoot.
Yeah, but just going back to Robin Williams real quick. If you ever Google when he does a stand-up routine about the invention of the game of golf, oh my gosh, hysterical. I think it's the funniest thing he's ever done. Right? Google the invention of the game of golf, Robin Williams.
I'll check it out.
I guarantee you'll be cracking up. Oh yeah. Yeah, he does it like a drunk Scottishman. And Scotsman or Scotsman?
Scotsman, I think.
Scotsman.
Scotsman.
Okay. Yeah, hysterical stuff. Absolutely hysterical.
It's awesome. Yeah. All right. Anything else, Luke?
I think Vic, I appreciate you coming on.
Hey,
it's been awesome. I've had a lot of fun with this.
Yes,
it's been great, man. Thank you.
My pleasure. Pleasure to get to see you and meet you.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you.
Dave's told me a lot about you. Maybe when Dave's not around, I'll tell you what he said, and you can tell me whether or not it's true. Something about getting hit by a car stepping out of a bar.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's true.
That's true. That is very, very true.
And that could be one of those drinking games. Never have I ever.
That was always. I've said that I think that story got told for probably 10 straight years, where I couldn't go, like, if somebody, I swear, like 10 years after the fact, if somebody would say something like, "Oh, that was you? That guy that totaled the car?" Like, like people had heard the story around and actually beat me, like they're beating a celebrity or something.
The legend.
That's awesome.
Shit.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Very good.
All righty. Well, guys, listen, thank you guys for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed this this episode with my dad here. So hey, thank you,
You're
Dad,
welcome.
for doing this.
You're welcome. My
And
pleasure.
Luke and everybody, we'll see you guys next week. And don't forget your most important stop, right?
Yep.
Pull in the driveway.
That's it. See you guys later.